A forgotten lord returns in a useless body, and the Murim starts lying. Spoilers ahead for this Korean manhwa recap. The story follows Ri-Dan Byeok, a disgraced heir whose body becomes the second chance of an aging Murim powerhouse. In his old life, the former Alliance Lord carried authority, reputation, and terrifying martial experience, but death leaves him with a cruel lesson: legacy means nothing if the truth behind it gets buried. Now he has memories, instincts, and regret inside a young man everyone expects to fail. That makes every quiet choice dangerous, because Ri-Dan cannot simply announce who he used to be. He has to survive rumors, rebuild influence, test allies, and uncover why his old life ended while wearing the face of a wastrel. The new stretch opens in a bustling Murim city, where the streets are alive with gossip about powerful names like Jang Hyun, Namgung Sebak, and the Murim Alliance. Ri-Dan moves through it quietly, not as a carefree traveler, but as someone measuring every word for hidden intent. The talk around him points to a wider political disturbance, and his mind drifts toward memories of pursuit, exhausted people crossing rough ground, and enemies appearing when survival was already uncertain. What matters most is not whether every rumor is true. Ri-Dan realizes someone is shaping the story on purpose, spreading false information before he has the strength to control the board. For a man with memories of greatness, that is a bitter warning. He may know the Murim, but he is still far from being able to command it. After leaving the noise of the city, Ri-Dan follows a humble sign marked with the word wind and arrives at a small inn that feels almost too quiet for the trouble gathering outside. The owner, Baek, greets him with unexpected warmth, even calling him the first customer since taking over the place. Then the surprise deepens when Ri-Dan finds Gal Saryang alive inside. Gal explains that Baek is the reason he survived, turning the inn from a random stop into a shelter built from old debts. Baek carries regret over failing to protect Ri-Dan's father, and the conversation shifts from business to belonging. For Ri-Dan, the inn is not just a roof. It becomes a fragile base where loyalty, guilt, and memory all meet. Soon after, the focus shifts to a long-haired swordsman whose calm expression cannot hide the pressure he senses around him. He returns like a man who already knows peaceful days are ending, thinking that a major storm is coming. Instead of looking for comfort or status, he steps toward a martial training hall with a clear intention: he wants to contribute. The seniors inside question him, testing whether he has the right to stand there and whether his determination is anything more than pride. But he does not retreat. He speaks like someone shaped by harsher experience than the room can see, insisting that he wants to succeed as a martial artist. That decision plants the first seed of a new squad, and it turns his quiet return into a challenge. Inside the training hall, the long-haired man does not try to impress everyone with flashy technique. He watches the instructors, studies the students, and looks for the kind of person who can survive a different method. His attention settles on a sincere young trainee, someone not defined by talent yet, but by willingness. Rather than offering empty praise, he promises responsibility. If the trainee follows him, he will not be abandoned halfway, and the teacher will pour his strength into helping him grow. That offer matters because this man is not trying to build a decorative class. He wants proof that his approach works, proof that even someone overlooked can be remade through discipline. The trainee accepts him eagerly as leader, and suddenly the coming storm has a tiny unit standing in front of it. Training begins in the most unglamorous way possible. A young trainee collapses in the yard, surrounded by others who are also struggling through brutal physical drills. Instead of rushing toward sword forms or dramatic attacks, the long-haired instructor focuses on the lower body first. The trainee is confused, even frustrated, because the method feels strange compared with what ordinary martial students expect. But the instructor stays calm and direct. He explains through action that real strength has to be rooted before it can be shown. A body that cannot support movement cannot carry advanced technique, no matter how ambitious the student is. When the trainee senses the method may be connected to someone else, the lesson becomes more than exercise. It hints at a training philosophy built from experience, pain, and results that have not yet been fully revealed. After drilling the trainee hard enough to test both body and patience, the long-haired man steps away from the yard and seeks permission from an elder indoors. The scene slows down, but the pressure does not vanish. This is the kind of Murim world where even leaving a compound carries weight, because every trip can pull hidden relationships into the open. Once permission is granted, he travels with a cheerful companion through open countryside toward a village. The road feels lighter at first, with the companion's energy contrasting against his colder focus, but that contrast only makes the destination feel more suspicious. By the time they enter a dining hall or inn, the journey has shifted from training to confrontation. A large bearded man notices them, questions them, and begins testing the long-haired man's identity before the room can settle. The bearded man's suspicion sharpens quickly. He does not treat the travelers as harmless guests, and his questions press towards something much darker than casual recognition. The tension turns around identity, violence, and whether the long-haired man has killed someone. The exact details are unclear, but the accusation lands heavily enough to change the mood of the room. Instead of panicking or trying to flatter his way out, the long-haired man answers with cold confidence. He makes it clear he is not so weak that a strike from an abacus would be enough to kill him. That response does two things at once: it denies weakness, and it warns the room that he is not an easy target. The confrontation remains unresolved, leaving the next move hanging between insult, proof, and possible violence. The next available evidence settles into a calmer but still watchful scene around a martial school or courtyard. Older martial artists and younger disciples gather inside, and a gray-haired elder is treated with the respect given to a master. A blue-robed martial artist stands with a black-haired woman nearby, his manner confident but controlled. When he bows and greets the elder respectfully, the exchange stays polite, yet there is a careful edge underneath it. These are not random villagers sharing small talk. The framing suggests rank, history, and judgment moving quietly beneath formal manners. The elder responds casually, almost lazily, but that relaxed attitude may be its own kind of authority. In a Murim story, calm rooms can be more dangerous than open confrontation, because one wrong word can reveal allegiance. The meeting with the gray-haired master continues with measured restraint. The blue-robed man keeps his posture respectful, and the elder seems comfortable enough to answer with a small smile rather than open hostility. A line about keeping something in mind suggests that a request, warning, or instruction has passed between them, though the exact meaning cannot be safely confirmed from the visible evidence. Then the elder tells someone to buy him a drink, turning the formality into something almost casual. But that casual command still reinforces hierarchy. He is the kind of senior who can diffuse tension without surrendering authority. For Ri-Dan's larger journey, this kind of scene matters because power in Murim is not only measured by sword strikes. It also lives in who gets listened to, who gets tested, and who can make others wait. From this point, the available evidence becomes incomplete. The reference chapter panels for the next stretch were not accessible, and the OCR provided no readable dialogue, captions, names, or location clues to verify what happened. That means the safe recap has to pause rather than pretend the missing pages revealed a fight, betrayal, or breakthrough. What can be said is that the story has already positioned Ri-Dan and the surrounding martial figures inside a tightening network of rumors, training experiments, old guilt, and senior authority. The pressure is clearly moving from personal survival toward organized influence, but the exact next event cannot be responsibly described without the panels. So instead of inventing a cliffhanger, the honest cliffhanger is uncertainty itself. The Murim board is set, but the next confirmed move remains hidden. The missing evidence also affects how we read the broader arc. By now, Ri-Dan has learned that false rumors are being used as weapons, that old allies and protectors may still be alive, and that rebuilding strength requires more than inheriting memories from a previous life. The training hall material reinforces one of the strongest themes in the series: power has to be rebuilt from the ground up, whether that means lower body drills for a struggling trainee or social foundations like an inn, a squad, and a master-disciple bond. But because the later pages are unavailable, the recap cannot safely claim how those threads pay off yet. The most responsible reading is that the manhwa is shifting Ri-Dan from isolated survival into institution building, while enemies remain somewhere off-screen, shaping rumors faster than he can answer them. What makes this stretch interesting is how quiet it is compared with a typical overpowered Murim power fantasy. Ri-Dan is dangerous because of the life he remembers,
but the story keeps reminding us that memory alone does not equal control.
He hears lies spreading before he can crush them. He finds allies, but those allies come with regret and old wounds. He sees training not as a shortcut, but as a foundation, starting from the body, the squad, and the discipline to endure boring pain before dramatic victory. The unavailable later evidence leaves a real gap, but the confirmed direction is clear. Ri-Dan is not just trying to become strong again. He is rebuilding the pieces of influence that decide who survives when the Murim starts moving against you.
That is where this recap leaves us, with Ri-Dan rebuilding power while rumors move faster than swords.
Subscribe for the next manhwa recap, where we continue once the missing pieces of his Murim comeback become clear.